Hello, welcome to Showboys. Apologies for the late start tonight. We're having some technical difficulties back here. Chrome was not being friendly toward StreamYard. But here we are at last, Thursday night, another episode of Showboys. My name is Mike, and I'm joined by my good friend Nick. How are you doing tonight?
Better now that I can hear things in StreamYard. So
yeah, that's
shout
always
out.
helpful.
Yeah.
It is pretty ironic though,
Yes.
because tonight was my first night on
Band camp.
the church band. So I had practice this evening. So I was, the last couple weeks being like, do you want to find a third person to be on the episode tonight in case I'm like running late? Because I don't know how late it's going to go. I don't know if I'm going to be back right at 9:00. He's like, no, it's all right. I got it. I got this thing I'm going to do. It's going to be cool. And I was like, all right, I'm on my way home. I'm like 5 minutes from the house and the road is closed because I think there was like a bad accident or something. I didn't really see. There were just like 5 emergency vehicles and a fire truck like blocking the road. So I had to turn around.
Dang.
I like pull in the driveway at like 8:56 or something. And I'm like, yeah, just do whatever you want to do. And then like bring me in whenever you see fit. I'm making my way downstairs and I get down here. And wouldn't you know, I have to wait on Nick. And Nick is the reason that we're late.
Yep.
Oh, how the tables have turned.
Yeah, that was insane.
It's pretty funny turn of events for sure. Oh, look at this. Ugly Kid Joe Cross says Nick is looking like one handsome man tonight. All others pale in comparison. Yeah, it's the
I don't deserve such praise.
Did you freshly shave or
nope? I'm
did
actually need to shave.
Did you bathe recently?
Nope. I even got like a little bit of hair sticking up back here.
Oh, nice,
I'd say I'm
nice.
pretty. He's being
a kind
nice
fella.
He's being a sweet boy. That's all.
Yeah. So tonight we're gonna dive into a historic topic for us. But first we have to shout out our patrons, top tier patrons Tim B, Yusuf H, and Joe C. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. It is super helpfpful and means the world to us, and all of our other patrons, we love you too. If you want to sign up or check it out, go to patreon.com/showboyspodcast. And you can learn about what we have to offer at the different tiers and all that stuff. Check out the merch shop and our website, showboysmedia.com. So yeah, you want to do some news first before we get in?
Let's do some news. Let's do some news. There's some breaking news today that that I guess was bound to happen, but isn't happening here yet, and it isn't happening on everything yet. But the big news today is that Sony is raising its prices of both versions of the PS5 in most major territories. Not the US yet. And Nintendo and Microsoft have said they are not doing that yet. So, price increases on the PlayStation 5. I'm happy I have mine. I bought that at the pre-inflation rate. So proud of myself for there. But yeah, Europe, Japan, Australia, China, bunch of places. Yeah, it's like $30 on like the disc version, and like the UK $50 on the euro. So nothing crazy, but like just enough, right? That moves it up into
noticeable,
right? It's not as cheap as it was. So I guess they were getting cheaper there right up until yesterday.
So then does that mean they're like back at release price if they were getting cheaper and then they went up?
Yeah, if you want to do all the inflation math, like So
is it just like probably like a parts thing, or just like a current state of global economics thing?
I think it's just the state of doing business. Like things are just generally more expensive just everywhere you look, whether it's shipping, fuel, whatever it is. Like just costs more bones to move those units around. So they are taking the aggressive first step and raising console prices. And this is something that we talked about with Chad somewhat planes ago in terms of like how gaming has gotten cheaper, right? That whole argument stance, whatever you want to call it. So it was getting cheaper as inflation was kind of taking off. So now they're like trying to keep up with it a little bit. So
yeah,
not a big deal, but it's just kind of a sign of the times.
Your handsomeness has an aroma. Joe says he can smell it through the speakers.
That is called musk. My natural musk, just radiating, I would say.
Sounds appetizing.
So run out there, go get your Nintendo Switch before the price goes up, and run out there and go get your Xbox One X, 2 XL before it goes up.
Or you can just build a PC and not have to worry about upgrading for several years if you're okay with not being able to play at like 300 FPS, super max ultra 8000K graphics.
You just accept your degradation as like time goes on. You're like, this works.
How old's my PC? You helped me build it.
Man,
it's like what, 2 years?
More than that, dude.
3?
That
4?
was pre-pandemic. It's at least like 4.
Every game I play still looks amazing and runs amazing.
That's the thing. Like, ultimately, like time goes on and you just start playing League of Legends again. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Or
you just play Valheim and graphics don't matter.
Yeah, just don't keep up with the graphics game and you're good.
Yeah. Joe says he needs to get that big yak energy. Shout out to the chef. Just buy everything.
Everything.
Yeah, you should. And then tell us every specific spec from every piece of equipment you talk about. That's illuminating.
He's just Chad, but like more in Discord. You know what I mean? Like if Chad used Discord, that's basically how Chad would talk.
So like if Chad talked about everything else like he talks about FPS,
yeah,
that's what he would sound like.
Yep.
Yeah, so go buy your consoles just in time for them to release new ones in 2 years. You get to do the whole thing over again.
Nah, we're good.
So I have 2 shorter ones for you. The first one, we got some more information about the Horizon Zero Dawn Netflix series, which is interesting. Nothing, we don't have any dates or anything, but we did get a showrunner, and the showrunner is Steve Blackman. Yeah, he'll be helming the series. He recently signed a multi-year deal with Netflix, which includes this Horizon series, and then an original series called Orbital that will be done by David and Keith Lynch. But outside of that, we don't have any dates of when production is going to start or anything like that. But we got a showrunner, so thought that was at least newsworthy. And then, of course, the recent Gamescom, I believe, is still going on. We got a trailer for the Dune Survival MMO. Now, by trailer, I mean it was just a short cinematic teaser, so it really revealed absolutely nothing gameplay-wise.
This is the survival MMO. It's like a few things like they're trying to bleed together.
Yeah, and it's called Dune Awakening. But yes, it combines this. Here's a quote: combines the grittiness and creativity of survival games with the social interactivity of large-scale, persistent multiplayer games to create a unique and ambitious open-world survival MMO.
So Rust, but like PC.
It's
friendly Rust. It's
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know how friendly it is with giant like sand tapeworms trying to eat you.
True. I mean, friendly in terms of like there literally are not psychopaths running around the world on open mic chat.
Yes, I got chicken nuggets, bro.
Got a chicken?
Yeah. So here are some bullet points. You will survive the most dangerous planet in the universe, build shelters against sandstorms, explore the ever-changing face of Arrakis. I don't know if I said that right. Control the spice control Arrakis, so you'll be able to hunt for spice blooms and deploy your harvester and protect it from opportunistic raiders and rival factions. But yeah, it just sounds interesting. I like survival games. I used to like MMO games. So I don't know. I'd like to see some actual like gameplay stuff to see what it's actually like. But the cinematic trailer looked awesome, and I'm looking right now at the picture they used for the article. The character just kind of looks like a CGI version of Jake Gyllenhaal, and you know how we feel about Jake Gyllenhaal here at Showboys.
It's fantastic.
So, winner in my book,
man. When you say I used to love MMO games, it makes me feel like those who still play MMO games are like this. It's like an underground thing. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like counterculture because like I feel like everyone's really moved away from like true like World of Warcraft MMOs, and like I just feel like people aren't chasing that rabbit hole anymore. But like the ones that do, like they're hardcore and they're like in this like weird like niche and they love it, and they like being there. They like being forgotten about.
A forgotten people.
Yeah, I just feel like they're lost at this time, which is probably good. I mean, there still are good MMOs and all that, but you really have to dig for them, and you really have to get around things to enjoy. You know, I mean, there isn't that replacement, that perfect MMO like you had WoW in like 2010, like 2010, 2011 WoW, 2009.
Well, and I feel like they, not to go on a whole tangent, but like they slap the MMO label on a lot of things that kind of remove the multiplayer aspect.
Meta MMO.
Yeah. Well, like, for example, Elder Scrolls Online, they advertise it as playing solo. So what's the point of the MMO portion?
Yeah.
Like I think that's what made World of Warcraft so fun in the time that it really blossomed.
To do stuff you had to play with people.
You had to actually play with people. Like, and I'm gonna sound like an old raging boomer here, but like to find a group to do dungeons, you had to like be somewhat active in the community to find a group. Especially if you wanted to raid, you'd have to be like an active member of the community to find a guild that was big enough to have raiding parties. Like it required the MMO portion of MMORPG. But
and you were either like a fun person to play with, or you're really freaking good. So like you could be a dick and like be a terrible person, but if you were really, really good, people could look past that. Or if you weren't like the best geared or the best player, people generally liked you. That works too.
Yeah.
You don't need any of that anymore. Like everyone can just be like a raging a-hole.
Yeah. But now like in WoW, you just click on, DPS, healer, or tank, and you're looking for group or looking for raid finder, and you don't have to participate in the massive multiplayer portion of the game.
Yeah. It's kind of like MOBAs when you just kind of do unranked. You're like, wow, that was a trash group. Like basically it's the same
yeah,
thing.
Exactly. Yeah, and like Elder Scrolls, you and I would play together, but like we didn't even need to. Like everything you can do in that game is solo. You just like will go to a town and see other people running around. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot there are other people in this game.
I wish they weren't here because they're really like throwing out the immersion.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway,
Tank and Spank 45 running past me, like
just with no armor on.
No armor.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think it's like a lost genre now, and that's okay because not everything has to survive.
Yeah.
It has its little bubbles.
Bubbles.
We'll see what happens with this Dune game.
Yeah, and you say spice is a big thing in Dune, right? Mm-hmm. So, and we all know how much I like maps. Bear with me here. I found a new wine. It's called Silk and Spice, and it has a map on it.
Oh wow, I was not expecting it to go there.
Imported from Portugal. So
I
very
thought you were gonna
tasty.
say something about like maps being incorporated in this game in the like spice harvesting, and you're like, nope, I got this cool bottle.
Yep.
Spice and maps wine or
Yep.
whatever.
Silk and Spice.
Nice. But yeah,
Shout out.
there you go. There's some gaming news. All the links to the articles we referenced will be, or I should say are, in the episode description. If they're not, they will be. But yeah, tonight's topic, we want to, I mean, we always want to talk about this, but we want to prepare you listeners, get you guys hyped for Valheim, a game that we've been on for
Day one.
I don't know, almost 2 years. We talked about
Over 2 years.
Valheim
Yeah.
in episode 3 of Showboy's existence. So it's been a while. Deep. Yes. But Valheim got some news somewhat recently. This game will be coming to Game Pass, will be available on console, and will be available on PC Game Pass, which is pretty awesome. And I believe there will be cross-play between Xbox and PC, which is also awesome. But the PC Game Pass release is hopefully coming here before 2023, if not like in the front end of 2023. So we wanted to tell you again why we love this game and why we think you should jump in and play. Plus, you know, we literally talk about this all day while we're working. I mean, we just love talking about Valheim.
It's just like a controlled obsession, though, I feel like. And like, of course, like we're gonna think that, but it really is. Like, we talk about it all the time. I think I talk about it the most. I just really love this game. I just feel like I don't play it that much. Like it's controlled. I promise. I promise.
I can confirm. There are a lot of times that I get on and you're not on, but then you'll chat me the next day and be like, "So I was on last night," or like.
It took us like 2 weeks to actually do the Bebenberg journey.
Yeah, which really wasn't like all too much, but yeah, dude, it's just the thing that we talked about a lot in that first episode was the game is what you make it out to be. So like there are, you know, different aspects. You have your gathering and crafting, which is awesome. You have your PvE stuff, which is not like groundbreaking or like crazy by any means, but it's there and it is challenging. More so now, which we can talk about in a bit. But you know, you could do the PvE stuff. There are bosses in each biome that is finished. They're not all finished yet. And the defeating the bosses is meaningful. You get like powers and active abilities for beating the bosses. And then
items that help you in the next zone.
Yeah, exactly. You get an item that will unlock something in the next biome as you progress to get the next resource to use to upgrade your crafting stuff. Or you can just go completely crafting route and just play Viking Minecraft forever, which is equally as fun. Or you can find a nice blend of the two. And like, you don't necessarily have to progress to biomes if you don't want to progress. I don't know. The game is just whatever you want it to be. And I think that's what's so beautiful about it.
I agree. And it's definitely, and I think the way we have evolved playing, and this really kind of, for me, because there obviously is some time, because they are slower at updating this game than a lot of people thought they would be. And even when they first launched the game into early access, I think they were a little aggressive with the roadmap, at least on the outset. They're like, hey, we're going to almost do like an update every quarter, right?
Yeah.
And we're well into year 2 of the game, if not 3. So there is, and I was telling you about this. I really feel like there was like this initial, when the game was very brand new, everyone was just like trying to figure it out together, and like we all like powered through like the understanding of it. But now that that's kind of like faded, it is a little bit more difficult, and plus they've made it a little bit more difficult. But there is this time where everyone that played it year one, there's this lull where they're like, yeah, there's nothing to do, right? Beat all the bosses. You can only build so many long hauls in towns. I disagree with that because I lean into the Viking Minecraft a lot.
Yeah.
But in that like little hiatus time where even you didn't play, like I was probably the only one in our group like playing for a good stretch of time, and all I was doing was just like practicing building, trying different techniques, messing around and doing stuff like that, really really casually. Um so then when we fire up the Showboys server, and kind of get some like fresh blood in there, we're all kind of like semi playing regularly. It's nothing crazy, like it's super casual. If you're really talking about, it's like a solid 4 hours a week at
Mhm.
max, 6 hours maybe, like on a really strong week. I don't know, but um, it just felt good to kind of like have all these like refined skills of like how to build stuff, different techniques, slowly keeping up with the updates they do release, because they haven't released like a ton of content where it's like, oh, there's a whole, it's I need to play all the way back through it. No, but there's content that they filled in existing zones and existing things
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, that's the thing. When we stopped, you had the meadow, black forest, swamp, mountain, plains. Those were the 5 or
Yep. And
5
technically still are
biomes.
the 5.
Yes, they haven't added any new biomes. I think they were or are shooting for 9 total. Is that right?
I think so,
I'm
because
remembering correctly.
there's the Mistlands, there
Yes, the
is
Ashlands,
the Ashlands, there is the far north,
the ocean, I
and
believe
the
is going to
ocean.
be. So that's
So that's 4
4.
more
Yeah,
on
so
the
that'd
5.
be 9 total. Um, they haven't added any of those, and we're in year 2 or about to be. I don't know exactly the age of the game, right around 2 years. But like you said, what they did is they kind of more fully fleshed out zones. I mean, the swamp was decent before, but they added a few new things to the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
The the mountains, I believe, got a big improvement from what I remember. And the plains, I didn't really do like right around the time we stopped. We were about to defeat the plains boss, but we didn't really spend like an incredible amount of time exploring the plains. Um,
But never
but
based up in the plains,
yeah,
really.
they've added a new resource in the plains. I still feel like the plains are a little plain, for lack of a better term. Like I think they could
They're just
do a little
violent.
bit more to bring it up to like swamp mountain level of completeness. But like even though there are no new playable areas, they have really spruced up and filled in a few of these biomes that were pretty lacking when we were playing like at first.
Yeah, I would say what's Joe saying here? They
He
did not
says,
release a
yeah.
date for fall 2022 release for PC Game Pass, but they did announce console Game Pass release in spring 2023. Oof.
Yeah. I could be, or like this is just an assumption on my part, but I would assume that they would probably release it on PC Game Pass sooner than console because it already exists on PC and they don't have to worry about the port and stuff. But that's totally speculation, a baseless claim on my part. But he also says an Xbox exclusive, of course. And then talking about the planes, yes, they only contain death. How lame.
That's very much true, and that's why people stay away from the planes for the most part. And plus, it's like kind of the trailing end of the game, and like Mike said, it's missing a little bit of substance, especially compared to the previous 2 zones now, because it's like Meadow largely unchanged. It's the main. It's where you start. It's super friendly and nice there and quite peaceful.
Yeah, the most dangerous thing would be the wild boars or neck.
The boars are really the most dangerous thing in the meadow. They can be pretty aggressive when there's like a pack of them on you and you haven't eaten or something like that and you're naked.
Naked and afraid, being chased by boars.
Yeah, and I feel like the Black Forest, the next zone, it got probably, I think it got like a difficulty retool mostly in terms of just like number of mobs that spawn, how they spawn, and just like the general aggression in there. Because I do feel like the Black Forest is generally just more aggressive when you're in there.
And I wonder, we've talked about this a bit since we kind of like picked back up here in the last couple months. Like, is that just an overall thing, or is that because we play on a live server that fluctuates in number of players from time to time? Like, does the spawning and aggressiveness of the mobs, scale with the amount of players that are playing? Or like, I don't know specifically how that works. I don't know if you know or have looked into that at all.
I don't know the technicals, and I don't really know if you could find them. Like that's definitely like in the code, and then it's also how people end up playing. So I think what happens is the world is not living until there is a player within, sight distance, the spawn thing. So a good example is like you take a portal into the swamp, and I have a bunch of those surtling spawns like cheesed. So as soon as so basically I port into the swamp, I walk into an area, all the surtlings spawn because I have now entered the area. Well, they instantly die, so I hear all their screams as they die. So same situation, particularly when like with our refinery setup where it's on the edge of the swamp. So I think what happens is I I spawn, right? I enter the refinery. So the swamp responds to me entering there. Mobs spawn, right? Obviously, I'm just at the refinery to get some stone, right? I'm not killing those mobs out there. But what happens is I think they wander about and then you enter the area. So then if there's like probably a gap in the mob density, more will spawn. So I think there's this weird occurrence in the logic where the more players that are interacting in the area is just more opportunity for new things to spawn, which I think is how like weird stuff stacks up and all of a sudden it's just very aggressive.
Yeah.
Or and I think they generally just like up the ante in all the areas post meadow because it certainly was easier. I really think it was a
Yeah.
little easier.
I
And
mean,
then
the
on top,
trolls just take longer to take down. I mean, like, I used to
yeah,
be able to burn through those with my bow. My bow has not changed, and it takes me significantly longer to kill a troll, which is cool.
yeah,
Because
but
what was like a breeze before, just mining copper in the Black Forest at night, is actually kind of dangerous now.
yeah, you have to pay attention to like the little things, particularly just like make sure you eat, make sure all that stuff is in line. Um, and what they did, still talking about the Black Forest and then moving into the swamp is there definitely are more 1-star, 2-star things. So like in the Black Forest, like you might get like a 2-star grayling and like they hit really hard, or like a 2-star skeleton, they hit really hard. So if you're not paying attention and you think like, that's the trick with this game. Like something might look unassuming, but if it's a 2-star something, like you might get smacked a couple times and you might die because maybe you panic and you run, you jump, and then you lose health because you jump and you fell.
Yeah.
So quickly it can get out of hand if you don't keep your wits about you.
Yes.
So that element of it being a survival game, I think, has very much increased over time. Just like the spatial like logistics of navigating the zones with danger about you.
Yeah.
Because the trolls are generally more aggressive too. Like you can get 3 of those spawning on you. I feel at least 2 of them spawning without like an event happening. But
Yeah.
when an event happens, for sure 3 spawn and like there's
Yeah.
a
The
rock
ground is
thrower, there's the
really
tree
shaking.
swinger. Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, you gotta put them to work for you. Like,
Eh.
lure that guy, that tree swinger, over to a patch of trees and just let him chop them down for you. Save some axe durability. You know, he just swings once. You get like 2 or 3 trees falling down.
Yeah, it's fun when you take them on like a wild goose chase through the woods and they just smash everything in their way.
Joe says, "I'm still scared to go into troll caves." Well, it is scary being in a really confined space with one of those bad boys. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's still a scary thing if you can't like two hit them with your bow. But that's the cool thing is where maybe the trolls are a little tougher. They've added gear to get to make you a little more lethal, specialized gear, which is cool.
Hmm.
Um, but where it really gets cool is in the swamp, your favorite zone, Mike.
Yeah.
Is the swamp was a pretty dangerous place in general. Like it's dark, there's water everywhere, there's leeches in the water.
Ugh, those
You have to
dang
watch where you're
leeches.
standing. And generally there's jumping oozes, so this is the first time you encounter like a jumping creature that can leap over things and like shoot ooze
And
at you.
you get a lot of damage over time against you in the swamp too. I mean, you experience a little bit of that in the Black Forest with the Grey Dwarf shamans, but you get bit by a leech and then like gassed by an ooze or a blob, and
Yeah.
you're losing HP pretty quick.
Yeah. The thing with the swamp is it has the most enemy types, right? So like everything in the Black Forest is mostly melee, right? Like shamans still have to get close to you to like hit you with their poison spray.
Hmm.
Whereas in the swamp, they really introduce the skeleton archers are in the Black Forest, but then you get the skeleton archers in the swamp on top of the Draugr archers and the shooting oozes. So the the diversity of the enemy types plus then this weapon effectiveness takes place in the
Yeah,
swamp.
it's where you first start to experience like,
My sword doesn't work as well against
mhm,
the oozy slime things. You should have a mace, right?
yeah,
Um,
or like is it silver that's good against the Draugr?
yeah, and you don't even have that yet,
Yeah, but I just like that, like, you
right?
have that ability to find more effective combat weapons against certain mobs.
Yeah, and the game starts to scale in different ways. And without saying it, the uh, the addition of like the new big baddie, right, in the swamp is like a whole new element because it's like purely random. It could never happen to you on a swamp adventure. You ran into like two of them the other day. So if you're not paying attention and you're caught out of position, you're gonna die. You know,
Yep.
no matter like
Well,
how geared or good you are, like you just got done fighting a bunch of other things, and all of a sudden, boom,
yeah,
your,
it's
your
cool
luck ran
because
dry.
that was like a mechanic from a mob that you'd find in the mountains that they added into the swamp.
Mm, yeah,
Um, and it's terrifying because like I don't know how, like, because we have Joe's listening. I don't know if any of our other players from our server are listening. So I don't want to, like, I don't know what sort of spoilery territory you want to get into in terms of like mobs and resources and things in each biome.
we'll
So I don't know.
reference them, but not name them. I would
Yeah.
say.
But yeah, I don't know. Where exactly were we going with
So yeah,
that?
so that's the swamp. So like we're talking. I'm kind of talking about like how they filled in the game,
Oh,
right?
yes, yes, yes,
More
yes.
than really verbatim add to the game because I know a lot of people, a lot of sweaties, right? We got Bim, we got
Big
Crossland,
sweaty.
right? Like they're sweaties. They like the end game stuff, so they're really not going to play again until there's a new zone,
Mhm.
um, which is fine. But you know, I like to build stuff and I like people to come walk about my constructions, but we're not going to talk about that. Um, so the swamp feels really kind of complete to me,
Mhm.
with the little additions that they did do. Then we talk about the mountains, right? The mountains got the biggest overhaul. Um, really. And it pure play just by adding things. So like they added the dungeon to the mountains because it was
so cool.
It didn't have a dungeon, and it's the first. Black Forest has a dungeon. Swamp has a dungeon.
Spoilers
Ahead. So your first dungeon encounter is in the Black Forest. Then there's a swamp dungeon, which is like a whole nother territory of like rowdy. Then they introduce your dungeon in the mountains, and it is a whole nother level, many levels of rowdy. And I just love how all three of those are very distinctly different in a lot of different capacities. So that was, and doing that to the mountains was really important. Adding some spill from those dungeons to the wider world was very smart of them, right? Because you can kind of run into the main baddies, or the light versions. Basically, you can run into the pawns of the dungeons out and about in the world, which adds a whole different element. So you already have the packs of wolves running around. So then you add the other element there of claw fangs coming after you.
Yeah. And they made the troll equivalent way more.
It's indestructible. It's indestructible unless you take like the one thing that like really damages it. But I don't even know how you get close to that thing. It has the most OP arsenal of attacks out of everything. It has the troll like tree swing, but like I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
That ice lance thing is just ridiculous. It's so overpowered, and like they don't take damage. That's the other thing.
Yeah, it's tough. We haven't spent enough time in the mountains to fully figure that one out. Joe says, I've been in the mountains a little, but have yet to find a dungeon. Got me a pet wolf though.
You did.
That reminds me of Crossland's little
camp,
freaking kennel he had in our base. He had like 10 or 12 wolves running around at one point because they just started like breeding.
They would fight the swamp events that would happen.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think actually, did you name your wolf Diesel? Because I think I saw one running around. But yeah, I would really love to spend more time in the new mountains. I only was able to go in one little mountainous expedition with you since we restarted, and it was a blast. But yeah, it's so cool because each biome not only has like new mobs and stuff, they each have their dungeon, and each dungeon is so different from the last, but like the key resource or resources are also obtained vastly differently through each. Like the Black Forest copper is just kind of like out in the forest and you hunt it that way. The iron is obtained in a completely different way than you do the copper in the Black Forest. And then when you get to the mountain ore, it's even more different and crazy.
It's like a combination of the first two, really. It's this weird hybrid of where you have to go somewhere very specific to find it, but you're still out in the open doing it.
Yeah, and it's like it takes some poking around to actually find it, which is pretty cool. And then it makes like the gathering of it like an ordeal, which is also pretty cool. Because of like my favorite thing, I just kind of realized this today, but I use Valheim as like mostly a de-stressor, and I'll just pop on and farm materials. Like I love gathering resources just to like unwind, de-stress, chill, throw on a stream on Twitch or something on YouTube, lo-fi playlist, I don't know, and just go mine iron or chop down a whole forest. I don't care.
And it helps a little bit because it always goes to a good cause. Right?
Yeah, and that's why we're like a match made in heaven when it comes to Valheim, because I just farm all the resources and Nick's like, oh cool, I could build stuff.
And and I think that's why I like this game so much. And like whatever casual blend of, because it's a game I can pop on for 20 minutes, I can pop on for 2 hours. And if my life allowed it, I would play 20 hours straight. And I think in the early days, like it was up there. There'd be some late night sessions.
Yeah. Well,
On Valheim.
we embarked on a very ambitious project last time.
Yeah. But I like how this game draws me out of my Minecraft building, right? So I build to be functional, right? Because there's functional reasons like how you build and why you
Mhm.
build. But like at the end of the day, like I'm still constructing my where I build my bases, where I set up my different camps, like it's for functional reasons because I do have to go out into the world and get the resources I need to build the things I want to build.
Mhm.
There's no like hack around that other than being like I have 20 mics working for me.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to employ more mics, sounds
Yeah.
like. Joe says, I regret listening to this episode. Now I want to play so badly and won't be able to for over a week. That
Brutal.
vacation. You should just not go on vacation. Just play Valheim.
I mean, you can ask us about that. Like, I think like every time we like but that's the thing. Like you said, it's the de-stressor. I
Yeah.
always find myself playing Valheim, especially when I'm about to be away from the house for a weekend, away from like my computer for several days, right? Because it's almost like, yeah, I don't have to work tomorrow, vacation, whatever it is. Like, I just have an evening where I'm just gonna like de-stress. What am I gonna do? I'm just gonna pop on Valheim.
Yeah.
It's like the pre-vacation warm up, but then you go on vacation or you leave your house for several days, and it's like, but I just want to play Valheim.
Yeah. I know, like, different game, but it still revolves around gathering resources. When we first talked about New World, actually,
Rip.
New World was episode 3. Valheim
Pour
was
one out.
after that, but yeah, New World, the like first special testing period before the beta, because that was supposed to be like the second release of the game that got delayed.
And there's actually 2
Um,
more beta testings after that.
yeah, yeah. But I played like the day or two leading up to vacation, and they have very specific looking trees. And I remember driving through the Outer Banks being like, dude, that tree is the tree from New World. Like, I just want to go try to chop it down. And then the whole time I just keep driving past these trees. I'm like, I cannot wait to get back into New World and chop these trees down.
Becca's like packing the car with like all the logical things, like for the
Yeah, just like
children,
get an
for the
axe.
trip. And you're just like, here, put this in the back. She's like, why are you bringing an axe?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I need to de-stress.
Yeah, that doesn't sound serial killer-ish at all.
Right.
But
But
yeah.
yeah, that's probably the biggest like crux of this game is like the way it just like casually blends like my desire to build, but like then also the need I have in game to like go out and do things in the world. And it's
Mhm.
just always so fun to just like run
And the
around.
world is huge.
It's endlessly huge.
Like,
Like
it's
you and I have
literally
carved out like
massive.
20% of the map, and it's just like more than we would ever need.
Oh, dude, I don't know. Let me look at Steam real quick, because I think I stopped our first major playtime at around like
Uh-huh.
250 or 240, like hour wise. Okay, so
No.
I'm at 299. So I've played a significant amount of time. But those additional 40, 50 hours I've played since returning have just been on the resource island and the refinery swamp. Like,
Whoops.
just like less than 1% of the total map of Valheim I've spent like 40 hours in.
Yeah, it's almost too like convenient because I'm always like a stickler for like leaving some areas like untouched. Um so like the game just lets you be like, let me just find like a throwaway like continent and like this is just what I'm gonna farm. I don't need to farm
Yeah.
anything else anywhere else in the game. Like a portal here and I can just chop down trees,
Every
mine for
tree.
days.
Yep.
The only time like you run resource deprived is obviously like the very special resources. You kind of gotta hunt for those at times.
And if you really want to cheese, you can just go on a private seed and transport materials over.
And that's another thing is like, especially on this like second playthrough, like, yeah, portals are all the hype, and I do use portals very strategically for just like extending my base of operations, just like moving about. But like, I enjoy having to like sail places, and I like to sail some places and do stuff like that.
Still, my favorite aspect is that you cannot go through portals with or bars.
Yeah,
And I
it
love that
adds
they've never changed. They haven't changed that.
it adds just enough like functional constraint
Yes.
to your needs to where 10% of the time I got to sail a boat
Yep.
or pull a cart, right? And
Yeah.
that's just enough to like make it fun.
Yeah. Exactly. Um, and then the planes, they added an obtainable resource that wasn't in the game prior for crafting purposes.
They did.
Yes, I don't want to say for spoiler
Hmm.
reasons. I will private chat you. And that private chat just went into the stream. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot about that. That is
Yes.
like the biggest thing. And the reason, yeah, wow, I can't believe I forgot about that. That takes building to a whole nother like
Dude,
stratosphere.
not only that, but obtaining it is again completely different than every other biome's resource, and it's really cool.
Yeah, like the first, like when I was showing you how to get it, yours like, whoa, like wow, like what is happening here?
Yeah,
What are we doing and
very
why?
involved in a highly dangerous biome.
You have my attention. That's the thing. So like, until that happened, I was like, yeah, I'll just casually play, I'll go to the Black Forest and nothing's really dangerous. I don't really need iron, so I don't have to go to the swamp. But then they're like, this thing is new and it like doubles your building palette for some things, and it's in the most dangerous place in the game.
Nick's like, I must go.
I must go. Though I've gotten really good at getting to it on
Yeah,
my own. I've soloed clear quite a bit of that. It's
nice.
not easy. It takes time. And you're always zoomed all the way out. And the volume up.
Yeah, so it's the surround sound on, so you can
Oh
hear
god.
those pesky what furtlings, fueling. What do they call those
They're
dumb
full
goblins?
foalings. The
Fullings.
goblins are called
Why
like
don't they just call
foalings.
them goblins?
Not
Because
just
that's what
that, you
they
gotta
are.
listen for the buzz.
Oh, the death skeeter.
And the death skeeters. Poor Civ. Poor Joe.
There you
Joe.
go.
So
Talking
sorry.
about unassuming enemies. Who would know? Who would think that a flying mosquito would literally one shot you? But they do, and they come out of nowhere and they chase you forever. um, but yeah, they've added like I think we both agree that the plains are the least complete biome, but they've added more stuff since our first massive time in the game. Not only with that resource, you have like a couple new food options. The food options were there when we played.
Hmm.
They just seem to be a little more
They were unrefined.
abundant. Yes,
They what they did was they retooled food. They had a big food update,
which was cool because
which is
that's
very
another
cool.
thing. Cooking, you could just lose yourself in cooking.
Joe, Crossland did that.
Yeah, I will say the cooking's not like incredibly deep or anything, but
No,
there's a system there you can use
there's
if you
enough
want.
there's enough depth to make you think just enough to
Yeah,
like not just like grab a bunch of food and go. Like I kind
yeah,
of think about your limit on inventory space, so you can't grab a ton of different types of food, but you need like 3 foods because that's how many you can have on you at once in terms of like health points
yeah.
and
And now they
regen.
tell you what stats each food gives you and an actual numerical value. So you can be like, I'm going to go do a lot of gathering. So I'm going to mine some copper or whatever. So let's find some stamina heavy food. So I have a nice pool to use.
Yeah. And
Um,
exactly, that's the thing is they rebalance them to be like these are more stamina based foods, these are more health based foods. They'll probably eventually, and they kind of do that with meads and some of the other stuff that you can make of the more advanced stuff in terms of like regen.
mhm.
I imagine like the foods already show signs of this because the better foods have better regen. So eventually there will probably be more like regen specific foods.
Yeah. I also like and dislike. I only the dislike because of like playing when it actually happens in game. That's a terrible explanation. So they may have added this, or I just noticed that as your, the food you eat only lasts for a certain period of time, say like 10 minutes, some are like 20 minutes or 25 or something. As your timer of the food is getting closer to expiring, you start losing your stamina pool or your health pool.
Correct. When it starts to flash.
So it's cool. I like that, but I also dislike it when it's happening. So I'm like, crap, I got to eat, or like, I don't have food right now. I got to go back, or I just got to be like super careful. But it's a cool little system nonetheless.
Oh yeah.
And like we talked about the first time, sorry to cut you off there, but while we're still on topic of food, you can get into some of these survival games where food management, like hunger, thirst, whatever, can be like a job, and like if you don't eat food, you'll literally die type thing. This, again, it's just like if you don't eat, you just have 25 HP and like 50 stamina. So you're just super low. You're not going to die, but if you fall from the second floor of your tower, you will die, because I've done that like about 100 times. So it's not like an absolute necessity for your survival to always have food in your belly, but you will be in a much better situation if you remember to eat and keep food on you. So little things like that take like some of the drag of hardcore survival games out of the equation and just make it a lot more palatable for people who aren't into the super heavy survival aspect.
Yeah, and it just generally makes the game more enjoyable, because those games, like, you die for very angry reasons because you couldn't find what you needed to. Like this, at least you can live until you carefully walk through like the Black Forest back to, or like, you find the right stuff. So no, that's really nice. And even with building, because sometimes I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna go stam heavy. I'm an archer these days because I got the archer gear. And you having stamina is very important when building, because it takes stamina to build. But I build so high sometimes that I actually need to eat like a health food, so when I accidentally fall, I don't die.
Yes,
there are weird logistics to the game that you don't have to understand by any means, but if you understand them, the game like is much more easy. It's more enjoyable because like Joe, I know you have died for like very annoying reasons probably, and there's probably like some weird obscure mechanic that would just like help you through that sometimes. And maybe that mechanic is just going on adventures with me, because you only died like twice. And neither of them were frustrating deaths either. I
not
so.
Trying to recover a biociv corpse deep in the swamp ocean.
My favorite part of that adventure of theirs was that there was a slight miscommunication in terms of like, all right, I got all my stuff. I'm ready. We're going for it. Joe has all his stuff that's like important. Meanwhile, Civ like was like, oh, I was naked. I was just running. Slight miscommunication there. And that's tough though, because like even you and I, like we were sailing old Bebby, and we had some run-ins with the boats. You ran ashore, got killed by some goblins. It's
We had a
tough.
serpent chasing us at one point.
Serpent chasing us at one
With
point.
2 full hauls of precious materials that we spent weeks farming. Would have been a real buzzkill.
Would have been really sad. And you're like, oh nope, yeah, he's hitting me. Like, let's go. And it's just foggy. That's the other thing. Like the fact that the plains are so foggy and they're so dangerous to begin with, and then there's just like fog you can't see in front. You can't see in front of your boat. And there's just this super dense fog, and like you can hear the cackling goblins, you can hear the buzzing whatevers, and then like the serpent. It's just tough. Like the environment is a little harsh sometimes. but it's super casual. It's the weirdest combination. Like they have such a good balance going here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what do you want to get into? I can't believe we've talked this long. Like it's been like 40 minutes of us just gushing over just the biomes and the few things they added.
Yeah. So I did want to note that plains, like you said, is really the last biome in terms of
Yeah.
difficulty. Now, what is still missing from the plains? I think it obviously is like a dungeon of some sorts. I can only imagine what terrible dungeon will exist in the plains.
You just go into a death skeeter hive.
Yeah, like it's just death
I
skeeters.
wonder. I
Oh,
wonder if they're gonna have anything to do with the massive
monoliths
stone monoliths that are just sitting in the plains.
could be, could be.
Yes, Joe summed it up perfectly here. The game is as casual as you want it to be.
Yeah, but like, yeah, you can be super casual on there, but like for me, I can't be as casual as I probably want to be because I have to go out and get things that I need to be casual. So like if I just want to casually build anything I want, I can't. Like if I'm just like super casual, I'm just building really basic stuff. So they kind of get the builders in that
Yeah,
aspect because they're
it's as
like,
casual as you want it to be, Nick.
I know.
You don't want to be super basic builder. That means
Nope.
you're making
Yep.
it something else.
That's the thing. Like there's more than one reason they go out into the plains. Like some
Yeah.
people might be trying to go killing the boss, getting the best gear. I'm just going out for that precious resource that makes
Yeah.
building way
Get
better.
some of them cloud berries.
Ooh, the cloud berries. Those things are
Yes.
nice though. They added way
Um,
more of those, by the way.
which, by the
Um,
way, another thing that they kind of had, I don't even know if we touched on it in our first episode, but like farming, like literal farming,
Actual
like
farming.
planting vegetables.
Talk about casual, but
Dude,
not
you get,
even. Like you have to go to the plains if you want to be a sweet farmer.
yeah, like
You have to
each
build a
biome again
base.
has its own seed, but especially in the plains, you have to plant them in the plains.
Yes, that's where farming like so all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, I can't just go to the plains and like snag the thing I need to farm." You have to make a farm in the plains. So like, hey, you want to be a badass farmer, a casual farmer? Not really. You have to be a casual farmer in the plains. Good luck.
Yeah. Um, yeah, dude, you can plant carrots, you can plant turnips, you can plant onions, you can plant the stuff in the plains. Joe says, "How casual am I? I traded rocks for carrots." Hey man,
That's I mean,
that's a good trade in my
that's a
mind.
solid trade, man. Carrots, they take time.
You make some carrot stew. You can get some seeds, start your own little carrot farm.
I can't think
Nick's
of
just
what I'd rather not do. Would I rather go make carrots or stone? I feel like stone's the easier pick there. Carrots is an
I'd
investment.
rather not. I like the farming aspect until I start like having to plant like 100 seeds. I'm like, oh god. Wait, there are onion and turnips?
Who said that?
Sir, I did.
Yep.
Yes. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler, there are
There are onion and turnips. And then there's
poor
something
Joe.
even better.
Poor Joe. He's
There's
trying to
also
go on vacation.
fishing.
He's trying to go on vacation, and you're like talking about onions and turnips.
Bro, you can fish.
You
I've
can
never fished.
fish.
Joe said the fishing system is pretty garbage, but you can fish. You can just
You
pick
can
up.
fish with a spear, which you throw.
Yeah,
If you're really frothy, you can do it.
if you can kill the fish, they will float and you can loot them.
Yep.
I need them. Yes, you do. I'm just saying, unless you want to
Bah.
go on an expedition and find the seeds yourself, we do have quite a large farm plot at the refinery. There's plenty planted if you need any. Just throwing that out there.
Saying.
Um,
Feel free to plant them. There's hundreds of them.
dude, yes, and a massive farm plot that needs filled. But yeah, so plains are the last biome right now, and
They
the
need a
next
dungeon.
one coming. Yes, they definitely need a dungeon, and they need their troll, right?
They don't have their troll.
Hey, would you
Well,
consider
I guess those things
that?
are kind of like just like the brute graylings.
Yeah.
Huh. That's kind of scary now that you say that. It's not the big furry guys.
I mean, maybe.
Those are like troll boars.
But like,
They're like boars on
yeah.
steroids.
Yeah, but I mean, like the mountain has. Okay, I'm just gonna start. No, I don't want to like. The mountain has the drakes and the golem, right? And the wolves. So like the plains
and
has
the other things.
Yeah, exactly. And the plains have the death skeetos, the goblins, and the locks.
And the brute goblins.
Yeah, but those are just like, I feel like
roided up goblins.
Yeah, like the gray dwarf brutes. Almost,
literally roided up goblins. Like they are jacked.
But like, yeah, do any of those mobs count as the plains troll? I don't know. I would like to see. I mean, don't get me wrong, the locks are rowdy. Like they're pretty rowdy. Those are just some angry giant hamster gerbil things.
Man, what would that would just be scary. You know, okay, so what would be game breaking for me? Like it would be upsetting if they added something in the plains or later that can like destroy ground. So like right now ground is like immune to mobs.
Like stone?
No, like
walls or like the literal ground?
The literal ground that you can technically manipulate and build. Nothing can damage that or change it. Only players can change that. So like you can cheese and make like technically a circle fort of just ground around you, right? Nothing can get to you. What would be upsetting is if they added something that could smash like manipulate the ground. Because a lot of my cheese tactics would then break.
Oh, rip Nick.
And my casual like existence in the plains is going to go kaput.
Yeah. But yes, definitely a dungeon for sure.
Definitely a dungeon. Definitely.
But the next one they have on tap is the Ashlands.
Mistlands.
Mistlands. That's right.
Yes, sir.
What do we know about this so far?
So I'll pull up the official Valheim Steam update.
Look at that table, bro.
Yeah, so we've gotten little clips, little inklings. We're slowly getting more and more and like pretty substantial stuff about it. So the Mistlands at the very early of the game, and I think even no, you can't even see this anymore. So like year one, when you go to the Mistlands, it's like spider webby. It's kind of like the swamp, but like no water. Really big, like spooky trees. They've removed a lot of that. And they're kind of prepping for what it's going to be. So like we get this picture here of a Viking sitting at a table, and this is kind of like a food tease, right? Mistlands is going to be big on food. We're going to have a lot of food expansion in the Mistlands. And we get a little kind of a background of like what's going on in terms of like it's rocky here. This picture here, which is like a stone house, this is all like building materials. So we have like the dark wood pieces that we currently have, right? So but what new here is these marble like black stone building components. So we have upgrade pieces of wood right now. We don't really have anything different than like our stone. So this is going to be like the fancy stone, if you will. So I'm really excited for that.
Nice.
So they've released that teaser of
I wonder if like if the material here will be like a metal or just like a different type of stone.
I believe it's a black marble is the name of it.
Okay. Nice.
Black marble.
That's gonna be cool.
And you'll be able to find around the Mistlands. So they don't say mine or gather. You'll be able to find it. So it almost kind of falls into like a black metal type category where you don't mine that currently. You find it, loot it. So definitely scarce, right? Definitely going to be a scarce material early on. Bill of the month, that's rowdy. Very cool.
I mean, the refinery bridge is pretty close to that.
Yeah, for sure. We can add enough detail. Let's see here. They have fish hanging on the wall. I don't know how
that's pretty rad.
You need that in the refinery.
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
Yes.
This is the big thing.
Whoa.
So this is so basically you obviously have evolution of crafting tables, and we haven't had a new crafting table. So this is the new crafting table that is like beyond like the artisan table is like the upgrade workbench. This is the upgrade forge, the
Dude, that's
fancy forge.
rad. That looks so cool.
Yeah.
If you're listening to the audio version of this, Nick has, like he said, the screen up of the official Valheim page on Steam, and this picture is just really cool. It's like a curved table with some cool like
It's a
goldish yellow
forge.
to like trim.
Yeah, and basically it looks like where you'd pour the molten metal to
Yeah.
make your sword into.
Like one end is just like a red hot pile of coals, it looks like, and then the other end is what would be the melted, metal or whatever. It just it looks real cool. And then there's like the little cool water box off to the side, which would be new too.
And we see the like connection line, which indicates when it belongs. So like this is an add-on to upgrade the workbench. So this is very fully much a brand new, fully functioning crafting.
So we'll have
table.
like workbench, forge, and then whatever the heck this is.
Yeah, and I don't even know if the artisan table has like many upgrades or adds to it because that hasn't been fleshed out. And I imagine that will get a lot more attention as like kind of the Mistlands crafting table, and this is the Mistlands forge.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I see going on here.
So like, is the artisan table, that is what you can craft linen from?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder,
they're gonna add stuff to that
Mistlands,
all over.
So like, they were filled with those big spooky spider webs. We're gonna get some like silk stuff.
Yeah, and I don't.
Wait. That's cool.
This is a build of the month. Basically, it looks like a modern
that
rich
is
person
so
lodge.
Cool. It's like an A-frame, like exactly like 2022 house out in a
on
meadow.
the lake.
Yeah,
that's nice.
That's rad.
I'm trying. I don't know if it's in here. This might have been an Instagram. Oh, traps. We have a bear trap here that they teased.
Are we gonna get bears?
Basically, it looks like we're trying to
for the locks.
Yeah, some weird stuff like that. So some different traps because we already have like the bombs. Here's another shot of the
dude. That's so cool looking.
The forge, like the fancy forge. Very cool. Very, very professional.
Ooh, and it says Mistland tier weapons.
Yes.
We're gonna get some new weapons.
Yes.
Oh.
Some new pickable mushrooms, new mushrooms basically, because we have our 2 different types of mushrooms currently in game. Looks like we have 2 new fungi to pick and eat. Build of the month.
Man, some of these people, dude. Wait, go back up for the fencing. I love how they put the wood post and then use that. Dude, that is a cool way to build the fence.
The core logs,
yeah. Yes, that is cool. Sorry, I just get so.
No, you're good.
The building stuff is so cool.
Yeah, there's so many unique ideas, and like Reddit is just like a rabbit hole of just like clever people. This was a very early shot of like ancient ruins and earth in the Mistlands, and it's this black marble again, and it's kind of like a bridge. At this time, they said it wouldn't be a buildable material, but I think they had enough people like, why wouldn't that be it? You can't just show us. It's like the goblin camps. Like, why can't we build some of that stuff? That would be something I want them to add is the goblin camp,
like
structure pieces,
wood design.
Yeah, and even like you have to make out of fine wood or something, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. There's gonna be rabbits in the Mistlands. We got little like jackrabbits.
Have some new rabbit meat.
Right. And here's the art for the episode tonight. We have this very kind of like dwarven ruin building. So I really forget, and this is what I want to kind of point out was there's a picture where previously in game, like the spider webs were all over the trees, right? In the Mistlands, it's just a very spider webby type place. They removed a lot of that. It looks like the dungeons for the Mistlands will be a spider type delve.
Oh, that's so. I hate spiders.
Yeah.
That sounds not pleasant. Oh, that's another cool build.
Yeah, so that was on Instagram somewhere I saw, but basically it was the look of like there's some stairs and then there's like this like cave opening and it's just covered in spider webs. So I think they retooled the spider activity into the delves.
And that makes sense.
Yeah. So lots of exciting stuff. So it sounds like what I'm afraid of is, I mean, I just feel like that, and this is like a timing thing. So like, will it be this year? Will it be next year? I really hope it'll be at the latest next year. But for how much stuff they're kind of showing here for what is going to be in the Mistlands
I mean,
update,
it looks like they have a lot of it already.
they have a lot of it, and it's like so much Mistland stuff. And I like that this shot is in the plains of the forge, and they have these traps in the plains.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping they maybe have like another update this year that adds more stuff to the plains, the same way they did the mountains.
Or
I
maybe
would
they just throw it all in this one. Hey,
maybe,
here's the Mistlands, but also fully fleshed out plains.
yeah. I would like, at the very least, I would hope for a plains completion update this
Mhm.
year. And then next year give us the Mistlands if we must wait.
Ooh, Joe, you need to expound upon this. He says, I would like blueprints.
Of what? Everything?
Like, do we make these?
Oh,
Are they findable? Or
Rust
like,
had blueprints, yeah. Well, it's currently everything in game. Once you touch all the required materials to make something, you learn it.
yeah. I really like that fish picture is hilarious.
Oh, it's
Also,
great.
I didn't realize there were that many different kinds of fish. So learn
Yeah.
something new every day.
Yeah, that is a thing, isn't it? I didn't
Yeah.
realize. I never thought about it. I always just find them dead on the shore and I pick them up.
Yeah. Mosquito nets? Bro.
Man, big
What if
thinking
you
right
could
there.
tame mosquitoes and they
Mm,
follow you around like wolves do? And you just have this massive death skeeter army flying behind you.
I would say they're not something you can tame, but there's almost like something you can use as like a booby trap where something happens and it launches the death skeeto after your enemy. Um, Banners, Mike loves banners. Now
I do love banners.
they have like 15. There's at least 10 colors of banners these days, which is awesome because you can combine all sorts of berries and different
Mhm.
things to make the different colors. So banners have come a long way, but yeah, Mistlands is looking pretty rowdy. They're putting a lot of good polish into it, I feel like, but
Yeah.
definitely want that plains update.
I would like to see at some point too more gear diversity in terms of like stat bonuses and functionality that way.
Do
Like
you not
the go ahead.
do you not like that currently right now set bonuses and like gear stats kind of are very pointed, right? Like so I have the root armor, which is just what it really does for you is it gives you some armor, but the main thing is like it improves your archery, so it makes you a badass archer.
Yeah, and
But everything else is sacrificed, kind
you
of.
have like resistance to a certain type of damage and then you're weak to fire damage.
Yep.
I like that. It's cool. Be as pointed as you want, but like do that for each armor set. Like I like how the troll armor you get like the sneak boost so you can be like real stealthy and you have great speed. So running around like when I was scouting on our first playthrough, that was another one of my roles. I would just uncover the map and the areas, which they have added a cartography table, which is amazing. So cool. What an amazing concept. So like you can share your map with your friends and your friends can copy. Yeah, you have to go up to the table, record your entries. They can come up to the table and copy them. And it includes the markings you put on your map, which is amazing. I love being able to mark up the map in this game. Anyways, I would use the troll armor for scouting purposes because I could run faster and I could sneak around. But like, I don't know. I would just like to see more like set bonuses, like maybe iron is something regarding to being tanky, or I don't know. I also haven't really looked, but I don't know if a full iron set gives you anything or a full bronze set gives you anything.
No, so like iron and bronze set pure play, like originally, like outside of the like the troll armor, it was really just like the armor was intended to give you more armor.
Yeah.
That's it. But now they have the root armor, they have the Fenris armor, which they're adding the very specialized armors too. So the way I look at it is, I have my my woven iron armor, right, which is like the upgrade, the padded armor, which is the iron armor with the silk thread or whatever
Yeah.
that is. If I want to go be tanky and like fight stuff like with an axe and a sword, I'd wear that. But because all I do is build and gather and like kind of just like get resources,
Sniping dudes with arrows.
yeah, I'm just rocking arrows, and that's the other thing. Like I have to go get mats for arrows, so I gotta go up the mountains, get more
Getting those
obsidian.
dang feathers too.
The feathers are tough.
Yeah.
The death skeetos should kill the birds for you. That's what you should be able to train death skeetos for, is like bird hunters.
Yes. Yes. Joe says, any new skills you would like to see? It would be cool to have a smithing skill where if you build the same amount of armor, you can gain certain bonuses based on your level. That would be cool. Yeah, I would at the root of the issue, I think some, if not, I would venture out to say most of the systems in the game are not super deep.
Right.
The building is pretty deep. The gathering's cool, but they could definitely fully realize some of these, like these armor bonuses, skill set bonuses like Joe's talking about. That would be super cool to be able to, like, because my axe, like my tree chopping skill is so high that, you know, I get blah, blah, blah bonus or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, you know, my cooking is so high that my food lasts like a little bit long, like a percentage longer.
I'm pretty sure like swimming, tree chopping, mining, like those skills, like you are better with those things.
Yeah.
Marginally, very, very like percentage wise, like in the data. Cooking, I don't know what the cooking skill like is for. Like what does that do for you? So maybe those are probably definitely, there should be more built around like, hey, I have a high swimming skill. Do I noticeably swim faster? Like can I noticeably maintain more stamina
anymore?
Do I need a sailboat anymore? I have 1,000 stamina, 1,000 swimming skill. I can just swim through the ocean and murder serpents. Like,
one thing I noticed last night, which was cool, I was encumbered and jumped into the water off the boat, you know, unloading when we reached our plane destination. And I lost double stamina while swimming, because you lose stamina while swimming.
That might
and
be a
you
little
lose
new.
stamina while you're encumbered and moving. I was encumbered and swimming, and my stamina bar was like evaporating. Which I wonder if I would have died faster too. Like, I don't know. Anyways, now we're just getting.
Here's something that's more
Ooh, here's a good extra materials as a bonus for high level when you're gathering. That would be great.
That would be cool. Something I would like to see, which is tricky, but at first I was like, oh, they'll never do it. But then they added that planes resource, and I was like, oh, so they have the ability to do this in world, and more liquid, more water mechanics. Because right now the ocean is like the plane, and you know, if the land's low enough, you dig deep enough, like you hit water. Why? Because that's where the ocean level is. So like right now, it's just like the same.
Refinery floods quite a bit due to some digging.
Yeah. So I would like to see some more physics around like water, because it would be cool to have like a water wheel and like just like mess with water like that in game, kind of like Timberborn, but not that deep, but like just some water mechanics I think would
Or
be cool.
be able to like go underwater.
Go underwater. There is a way to cheese it. If you
Yes.
if you build a roof slope and go down and you just push, you just go under
No way.
and you don't drown because it's all stamina based.
And you're
Um,
standing on something.
I
So, can we try? Okay, so there's a sunken tomb about 10 feet away from the
yeah, we can
refinery
try
dock.
that.
Can
Yeah,
we
yeah.
cheese our way into the sunken tomb
Is it a sunken
underwater?
tomb though, or is it one of those circular like tower buildings? You know what I mean?
Ooh,
It's a
I don't know.
circle
Let's
down
go
there.
down there, find out. It's
Yeah,
got a
so
green light flame coming from it though, taunting me.
yeah. On Reddit, so you know how we made the bridge over the bay there?
Bro, Joe, get this guy a job at Valheim
Fishing
Coffee
nets.
Studios or whatever.
Yes,
He
yes.
says fishing nets that you could leave and collect would be nice.
Just like honey,
Bro,
like beehives.
yeah, you do that. You could build like a crab like deadliest catch pod,
Well,
take it out on your sailboat, drop it in the ocean somewhere, come back.
this ties back to what I was saying about like modifying your boats. Like you
Yeah.
should be able to turn
Ah,
into a
there's
fishing
another
boat.
great one. Yeah. We were just talking about that last night.
But
Um,
yeah, on Reddit, someone had, instead of making a bridge, they built an underwater tunnel that they could like run through.
that's awesome.
Just based on like the weird physics of like the roof being there, they could just like force themselves down and run to the other like continent, and they could
Oh,
sail over it.
that's crazy.
Way more work though than like it's worth.
Oh, I assume. Oh, that's pretty rad. Yeah, there are endless possibilities of how much stuff they could do within the game, because it's still very much like an open palette. There's plenty to do, and it's as deep and as casual, or as casual, I should say, as you want it to be. Um, but they could really go like hard in the paint with like boat updates, anything that we just talked about, really. I would love to see some like more weapon based stuff, mechanics, bonuses, abilities. Um, I'm not talking like WoW action bar like level of combat stuff, but like right now you have a swing, and then on some weapons you can click your middle mouse button and it has a special swing. Like for example, I have the pole arm. If I do my special attack, I spin in a circle, knock everything back, and stun them. Um, do bows have a middle mouse button?
I've never tried.
Like you can block or parry, but like it would be cool if you were using a shield and you could like,
Throw it.
just like hit somebody with it,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like Captain America and like chuck it and it ricochets off 4 Grey Dwarfs right back into your hand,
No, too
with the
much.
vibranium sound each impact.
That would be
Um,
like the you summon like the power of Odin, almost like a like the motor, like the
yeah,
boss
yeah,
buff. Like you just like, it's like in every like 15-minute power, you can just then throw your shield and
yeah.
it kills like four things. Yeah,
You get
I could get behind that.
you get like a metal hammer like Mjolnir, and you just like can chuck it and it goes endlessly until you call it back.
It just goes off the edge of the map,
Yeah.
and you see the damage of it from like when you sail somewhere.
Yes. Yes. There's a ton of stuff you can do. Um, but yeah, so that's hopefully coming soon-ish.
Yeah.
Maybe they plan it around like the console release, and there's like, so here's the console release. Also, enjoy the Mistlands and the fully fleshed out planes.
Yeah, I want something for Christmas, or Thanksgiving. I want like a planes update would be really cool because we're kind of like back into playing, and there's a lot of stuff that happened while we weren't playing. So I
Mhm.
would like to like just log in one day and just do some new stuff, even though there's still a lot of stuff that we need to do
Yeah.
in our current playthrough. But I would really, really hope they do the Mistlands like early next year at all.
Yeah.
I'm in no rush. It's just that casual of a game for me. And like you said, like my computer could be like completely outdated and it could be 10 years from now. I'm like, meh, I'll just play my like
Yeah.
2000th hour on
Yeah,
Valheim.
exactly. Let's do our Answer the Boy response, and then we can talk about some of our adventures, and then wrap up. So we asked, what you thought about Valheim, if you've played, if you've made any epic builds, if you defeated all the bosses, what would you like added? All that fun stuff. And Joe replied, he said, I enjoy Valheim. I just wish I had more time to play and more people on the server, which we'll talk about in a second. So there were always somebody to play with. Playing with yourself gets boring after a while. And you just said that on the stream. I'm sure I did say that. Because like we've been talking about, there's only so many trees you can chop down before you're like, okay,
Wrong.
I'm ready to hit the casual button and get off and either play something else or go do something. But yeah, it's a fun game, and it gets exponentially more fun with playing with people. And the more people you play with, the more fun it is. And we do have a live server, dedicated server that is active all the time. The way Valheim servers work, if you do not have a dedicated server, is like you can start a private world or join a friend's world. However, if that friend is not online and you want to play in that world, you can't, because the world is only alive when that person who created it is in it. But we have a dedicated server hosted by the one and only Pixel Nick over there. That is always active, so you can log in and jump into the Showboy server whenever you please and chop trees or mine stone or hop on a sailboat and sail around the world whenever you feel like it. And we've been doing that quite a bit lately. And last night we decided to venture out into the plains to start an ambitious building project in which we are going to kind of try to reimagine the fortress of Bebenberg from The Last Kingdom, a show that we are quite fond of course, here. Nick's put up on the screen our sailing journey here to the plains, but yeah, like the first dedicated server we played on that no longer exists, we attempted a rather ambitious project that you've probably, if you're a longtime listener of the podcast, have heard us talk about probably many times, and that being the canal, which was a super fun build. We basically, Nick found a small stream cutting through a continent, which was a pain that we would always have to sail around. And he's like, dude, let's just dig this up and sail through the continent. So this madman convinced us to do that, and we dug a massive canal through this land continent from coast to coast, made it deep enough to where you could sail your boat through, and then, of course, built, a ridiculous, like, monstrosity building right in the middle, complete with two massive paths, two lighthouses on each entrance of the of the canal, about 40 lighting fixtures on either side of the canal, which took about 2 months to farm the materials to make. It was so fun. It was so epic. It like literally ruined the server in terms of lag because we manipulated the earth so much. But man, when you like get on with friends and you start a project like that, it's so fun. Everyone's chipping in. When we got sick of building, we would go kill advance the biome boss list. I think we stopped playing before we beat the final the plains boss, but we had cleared the other 4 biomes. It was just a lot of fun. just getting into some crazy adventures with you guys.
Yeah, and I will say, I think the dedicated server out of my basement is way more performance enhanced than like the one offline, like one of those websites, because I've yet to experience any of the loading building issues that we had on that server on
Oh
this one.
yeah.
And I would say the refinery and even like Dunholm is that's pretty intense. Um, though I think that helps because we're all under the new terrain modification logic, which
Yeah.
was a big problem with the canal.
Yes. Joe says, "Is Valheim just electronic Legos?"
It is 100%. Like that's my issue. Um, the only thing that could be like a very far future, far flung like request from the devs would be like, can I somehow earn like NPC characters I can place in my towns to like do stuff for me, like repair the walls after an attack and like just
Oh yes.
little minuscule go mine, right? Like
Yeah.
if I
No, you
provide a
already have
safe,
one. You got your NPC right
I
here.
have real life NPCs.
Yes. Um. But yeah. So what are we trying to do with this Bebenberg fort?
Yeah.
And like, what have we done so far on the server in our little nook of the world?
Yeah, so we've really kind of claimed the southwestern portion of the map, really. And there's kind of like three continents that, two continents we span right now with like a couple islands. Primarily our Dunholm, which is like my home, really my pet project, nestled away in the Black Forest somewhere where no one knows. That's kind of like at the north end of the continent, and then all the way at the south end of the continent, it's the refinery that Mike lives at and just farms materials. We built a really awesome bridge there, very functional in that respect. That's where we farm. That's where we gather resources. So basically, there's a continent then to the south of us and one to the west. The one to the west is kind of like fun to adventure in. And I have some portals there, and I kind of just sail there and do things. But this one to the far south, in my mind, it preps our journeys for the Mistlands because it kind of is the last continent in this direction before the Mistland areas and like the later game stuff starts. So hopefully the Mistlands come out within like 6 months, 6 to 12 months, and we can actually not spoil, like actually use that portion of the map to do Mistland stuff. Um, so Bebenberg here is going to be our plains fortress build. Um, Planning for it to be mob proof. We should be able to go there and just like live happily without dying.
Yeah, we'll
So
see about that.
yeah, so and Bebenberg, for anyone that has seen The Last Kingdom, it very much sits on like these cliffs on this plain. So it's really going to be my first exertion of like some serious terraforming when we talk about like I need to raise the ground like many layers to make it look appropriate. So I like to think it's gonna be a combination of a lot of our endeavors. Mike's gonna have to go farm out in the plains. I think he's ready for it. I want to take down one of those monoliths.
Yeah, that'd be
I
rad. I
think it's
wonder.
doable.
Yeah, we'll have to try that. Yeah, the start of our journey, if you're watching the video here, required a lot of sailing. We made it out, and we had like the destination Nick had picked out on his map. Literally, it was a goblin base. So we got there and had to like build a little holding base, and then actually go out and you know clear this goblin camp, which was a lot of fun. Haven't had a fun combat like that with a friend in a while. Brought back some crazy goblin camp clearing memories.
I denied you the serpent kill. I was like, no, we just need to make it away from the serpent. Let's not risk because you're like, can't we just pull to shore and like fight it? I'm like, in the plains, because shortly here Mike runs ashore on the plane because it's about to be very foggy.
Yes.
And he runs ashore and like hops out, and there's just like 5 goblins like on this case.
Yep.
So yeah, we ran into a serpent, which is always fun. The wind was with us, luckily, so it was meant to be. But this fog is just like, it drives me nuts in the plains. It's like my least favorite feature because I like to see far and know what's going on around me, and the fog is not that. Especially when you're sailing, it's sad because
Yeah.
Mike runs aground right here.
I was like, well, I hit land. Yeah, we've discussed this before too. Like, the graphic style is not the most like pristine, but there are many times where you're either walking and the lighting is really good. You'll be walking and the sun flares in a specific way, and it just makes the environment look amazing. Sailing looks great, like, especially if you're like the waves are choppy, or if you hit a storm and the waves get big and you're just like flopping around on your longboat out there. It just, yeah, man, I don't know, the environment in this graphic style, I think, is a real treat sometimes.
And what I like about like right here is like your boat is touching the shore. I bring my boat up like right next to yours, and like that's what Vikings would like do. Like they would create like boat parties with their ships. Um, and it was just fun sailing 2 of these ships somewhere with like the hulls full of resources and like a plan. So I had never. It
Wow,
had been.
that's what your inventory looks like?
Why?
Oh man, we have our inventory set up very differently.
Everything. Oh, yeah, there's no rules there.
Give me half health like a big dork running after a bunch of goblins.
I'm trying to stand on the helm here.
But yeah, I mean, we're excited, and this is totally something that anyone who plays the game can be a part of. You just jump in the old Discord server. We get you our server information. You can be a part of the adventuring and all that fun stuff. We have, what did I count today? There's like 12 people who have popped in throughout the time. So max number of people you can have on a server at one point in time is 10. So we have definitely people who have played the game before and who have played the game on this server to really populate it and make it into something fun to do with friends.
100%. I mean, that's the intention. I somehow managed, my power doesn't go out very often, knock on wood, so the server has yet to be down. Outside of that one time they released an update, that was their fault. Because they updated how it was so funny. It was like maybe a month or 2 after we launched this, and they decided like, hey, we're gonna update how dedicated server world saves work. And they like bricked everyone's world save. So I had to recover that, and they had to like the hot fix it and all that kind of stuff. So that's always fun.
Yep.
And here's what we were talking about earlier. To fast forward a little bit, is it's super foggy. We're sailing, and I'm like, Mike, it's right up here. Like, this is where we're gonna found Bebenberg, and we're gonna build it. And through the fog, like, it's just so weird. Like, this game's so beautiful in moments like this. Like, the sun's coming up, the fog starts to clear, and there's like a goblin camp exactly where I intended for us to land
What
and
are
found
the
Bebenberg,
odds?
which I
You
think
just see
worked
their
out.
massive bonfire in the distance, like, yeah, pretty epic. Yeah, so please join the Discord server, get that information, join us on the Valheim server for sure. Do you have anything else you kind of want to touch on before we head out?
I don't think so. I really just want to play Valheim. Like that's usually just like what I want to do.
Yes. And if you can, if you don't own the game right now and can hold out for the Game Pass release, if you already have Game Pass, I mean, it's a no-brainer, free pickup, right? But if you are a PC gamer like myself and do not have an Xbox, this game is not sponsored by Microsoft or Game Pass, but it very well could be if you would like to give us money. But I did have PC Game Pass for quite a while, and for like I think it's like $15 a month, the library of PC games available on Game Pass is pretty huge. And if it's something you've been thinking about before, or if you even planned to buy this game, I would just wait until it comes out on Game Pass and sign up for Game Pass, because $15, you're already saving $5 on the price of Valheim. Plus, you have so many more games unlocked, and they add and rotate games pretty frequently. So, yes, the Game Pass release has me hyped, even though I already own it. I'm hyped because new people are going to try it. But talking through the Mistland update and like what all they've already leaked or hinted at or straight up told us they were bringing, has me very excited for that new biome. That there's a lot of cool stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, I can only imagine what the boss is. Hopefully, for your sake, it's not like a creepy 10-legged spider.
Oh God, I don't know if I can handle that.
I just can't wait for like the epic resource that's going to be in the delves, and you're going to have to go into a spider infested.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, if they don't add silk, they really drop the ball. That just seems like a no-brainer. But anyways, that's gonna do it for us tonight. Go check out our website, showboysmedia.com.
I can't wait for all the comments on YouTube for all the shots I missed with my arrow.
Right?
Yeah, they're gonna count it. They're gonna be like, "You missed 40 times."
If you didn't have that 4K mod, you probably would have been able to see with the beautiful.
I don't. This is regular Valheim. All the 4K mods are like broken right now.
Nice. Yeah, we have a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that just started on Sunday, DM'd by the one and only Ugly Kid Joe Cross, who's been chatting with us tonight throughout the episode. That was a blast. Go check out the replay is up on Showboys Gaming YouTube channel. You can go watch it there. We have the lore going on over on our website, showboysmedia.com/DND. Other than that, we have the House of the Dragon companion series running on Monday nights. I've watched the first episode, listened to episode 0 and episode 1 of the companion series. The amount of knowledge that Chad and Nick contain in their heads about the world of Game of Thrones is at points sickening, but it is very helpful when you're watching either of those shows, House of Dragon or Game of Thrones. It's very good listen as a companion while you're going through those series. So check that out. I don't have anything else. Do you?
Last thing I have to say is to redeem myself in like the darkness here. I took some like no scope shots like on some goblins where I couldn't even see them. So that's what this game's about.
Hey man, whatever makes you feel better, bro.
All the luck shots.
Yes. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, guys. Check out Valheim. Join our Discord. Subscribe.
Do it.
You guys have a lovely, lovely night. And we'll see you on Monday for House of the Dragon companion series.
It's going to be good. Oh yeah, time to go play Valheim, right? I got the day off tomorrow.